Okay, so what you're looking at there is the Spring Bar Leisure Report that I was talking about in the last shopping list. I'm doing a video on this just on tents and tables that I'm planning on buying and I'm looking through some options, and this is the tent that I'm going to buy. And here are my reasoning as to why. It is $700, but it is built to last a lifetime. For an extra $100, you can get the zip-in mesh and solid panels that make it a full tent. It comes with two mesh and two solid. For another $100, you get another two solid and two mesh. I'm gonna do that. And my thinking on this is basically I want a rain shelter that is like a living room, dining room kind of area. And I kind of figure that that big picture I've blown up there for you guys. That's kind of how I'm gonna use it most of the time with the side open. And then if the weather gets bad, you close the side. If the weather gets worse, you can zip in other panels. The other tents from this company are like thousands of dollars. If you're not going to sleep in this tent, I think this thing is perfect because I'm going to sleep in the bed in the minivan. However, like it would be nice to have some place to stand up and be out of the rain and yada yada yada. That's how I'm going to use this thing. I've been looking for something to do this with, and there's a couple of other tents that I'm going to show you that I'm going to get as well, but they are way cheaper, and I don't know if they're going to hold up and last, and they kind of hook to the car, and they're for different purposes. This is I want a hangout spot that I can set up anywhere in the world. Now this is a 4 foot long, 1 foot by 1 foot cube thing that weighs 76 pounds. So when I say this tent is made to last, it is made to last. Like it's big, it's heavy. Like this is like buying a teepee. Okay, and I was thrilled to see this because this is kind of like a modern teepee as far as I'm concerned. Like I'm gonna have to have a tent heater thing or something, or figure out a way to have this safely around a campfire. I don't know how I would do that. I guess technically you could put the fire 3 or 4 feet out and it's canvas, so you'd be good. And that would throw a lot of heat at you. I don't know. I would want to ask about that before I did that too much. You really don't want to burn holes in your expensive tent. That's, maybe this would be a propane heater kind of a thing to hang around, or a wood stove. I'd love to get a wood stove because you could put it in one of those corners and just run the pipe up through the opening, and like that's going to happen eventually with this tent. And for me, a wood stove makes a shit ton of sense. Now I would get a small one obviously, but we'll look into that. That's coming because like you don't need the wood stove with this. But like if you're planning to build a cabin eventually anyway, it's going to make your life in that tent a hell of a lot nicer. And this tent, the way it's built, you know, you could put that uh, stove as far into the tent as you can before that rear uh, stovepipe touches the fucking tent, right? You just need to make sure it's not touching, and really like nowhere near would be nice because like those things get hot. But you could come up with something for that. I think propane heater is probably the right answer, but like a wood stove would be bitching. If I can figure out a wood stove for this, I will. That's not the topic of this video, though. Let's look up the other tents that I'm thinking about. We'll just Google image search them. So this thing we are buying, right? This is the thing that I like the looks of. Versatility. I know how to spell versatility, but I want to make sure they don't fuck it up. Teardrop on it. There you go. This thing looks pretty badass. This is $116. And the one that intrigued me was it on this tripod thing, which I think it comes with. You could use this in so many ways off of the vehicle. My kitchen is going to be off the ass end of the car. So having this makes sense to me because it would give you a place out of the rain to cook at least. I don't need more than that. So I don't like this so much because it seems like a thing that's flimsy. It seems like a thing that like I'm going to have to drive the car eventually. And that other tent, the spring bar, if you had a campsite somewhere that you'd paid for, I would 100% load all my shit in that tent and zip it up because they like have security and shit. If you're out in the boondocks somewhere, I wouldn't do that. My goal is to kind of use this for some weekend camping and whatever until I can buy like 2 acres of land. I don't know where I'm going to do that yet. I haven't researched that yet entirely, but I'm going to go fully off grid and probably be at a point where like I'm going to have to figure out a way to get mail. I'm not going to have internet. I'll probably have the phone, so I'll still be able to post videos. Probably slow as fuck though. That's where like Starlink, that would be a nice to have kind of a thing. But I'm trying to keep recurring payments to a minimum. And I already have the phone and I already have so many other things. I don't really want to add Starlink to it. Like currently the internet on this place that you're listening to me on is some high speed shit and it costs sorry. It costs like $70 a month. And that's one thing. It's a whole nother thing to drop $500 on a thing that may or may not work. And then I don't know what the monthly payment is on Starlink. I never looked that up. I don't think it's that bad, but like it's the waiting for the system and the upfront cost of it that like I need to just do that shit. I don't know. I'm not really that worried about that yet because in reality, I can live without the internet. That's why I bought DVDs. Uh, between having YouTube on my phone probably and DVDs on everything else, it would be like being rewound in time to '08. It'd be like being in '08 again, or '09, which isn't that bad. I'm kind of thinking about trying to figure out some sort of way to get a fucking like Xbox or Xbox 360 putting in this shit too. Because there are some fun games for those that are completely disc based that don't need the internet at all, and you don't have to deal with all that fucking horse shit. The thing that chased me away from the Xbox One was the fact that the game that I liked to play the most was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it filled the entire hard drive. It filled the entire external hard drive that I had to put it on, which was bigger than the hard drive in the fucking Xbox. I had the little hard drive in the Xbox just for everything else. I'm like, yeah, this sucks. And like with, you know, I think I'm gonna go original Xbox because like the 360, as I remember it, you need the internet to download games at least. But like you could do that, and then you'd get much better games. Get a 360 with the biggest hard drive you can, hook it up to the internet, and find the discs that you like, and like download those games, and pick shit that's size efficient. Like even if you love LA Noire, like that game takes up the entire 360. The reason that I would like the 360 is because my favorite game ever basically is Red Dead Redemption. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 sucked balls, so there's no reason to have the newer system in my mind. I think I'm gonna go back and get like an Xbox 360, and it kind of pisses me off that I sold mine now. I sold mine only because like they were coming out with the new hotness. And like the thing that I've learned over the last few years is something my grandfather already knew, which is I heard Bush Radical say this: don't trade a gun for a snow machine. By that he means like a gun is something that is cool always. The snow machine is something that will fade over time. And I kind of view a lot of this in that way. Like the Xbox 360 is going to be worth more in the long run because it had better games and has nostalgia and yada yada yada. And Red Ring of Death issues aside, I would start buying Xbox 360 disc-based games and an Xbox 360 to play them on. Be my guess. I think that's probably the most advanced thing you'd be able to do. You'd have to fucking get all that shit downloaded. I'm going to get Infernus to do a chat with me on video games for Shitheads the Fan. Because like this is a topic that he would like to talk about, I'm guessing. And I think he still likes me. I don't know. He knows more about video games than I could ever hope to dream. I basically like playing some Xbox games. That's where I'm at with it. I got Age of Empires for the PC that I sacrificed to fucking Sun God or some shit. I don't know. I got tired of that rapidly. And I realized then that I should have spent that computer money on probably an Xbox 360. My question is really the original Xbox, I think, is a superior built machine. Those are going to be worth the most money. That thing is, for those who never had one, it is a spaceship compared to everything that came before it. Just my opinion. It was very well built, and it's a well done system that has some cool games too. Some of the games that I would put on the 360 would be like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, which is for the Xbox. I would put, Halo. Yeah, I think Halo 1, 2, and 3 are available for the original Xbox, if I remember right. So you might take those. I'm not that big of a fan of Halo, so I wouldn't waste the space. There's all sorts of Call of Duty games. Like, I would pick some stuff that's fun to play on repeat. And the thing that's cool about Red Dead Redemption, although it is big, and like LA Noire is sort of the same way, is that it's a big immersive world. That it's like the holodeck. So like those two games, believe it or not, would be in my Xbox 360. LA Noire is Red Dead Redemption, but you're a cop in the 1950s in LA. It's really good. And like you could do, what are those called? The car stealing games. Grand Theft Auto. You could do those too. We really got distracted on video games though. But that's probably good. That probably is entertaining and useful for some of you watching this. The other thing that I think about for this and or buying separate is something to go off the side of the door as like an awning for rain while you have the door open. And they make those like roll up canopy things for the sides of cars. I forget who makes those. Just search car awning and we'll see what pops up. It's car awning. These kind of things. Personally, I'm a little in the camp of those are really expensive. And you could do that with a tarp, but they are cool. Honestly, I think a tarp would be easier to set up than this. Either that, or why not use the the side dome thing for the kitchen? Like, get another one of those for $100. I would really love, like, the real answer to this is something like this, where it wraps around the whole ass end of the car. Let's look at that. Oh my God, that's $800. That would be bitching though. I don't think you guys can see what I'm looking at. No, you can't. Isn't that cool though? Like, I don't know. That's not worth the money at all. Not at all. But not like what I would like to have is something that I can throw out in 5 minutes, throw up in 5 minutes, shoot and scoot kind of thing. That looks like it would do that. I don't know. The thing that I like about the spring bar tent is that it's separate from the vehicle, which means that you can use it for other things. And your vehicle can come and go from it. And in reality, my kitchen covering, there's the ass end of the fucking car. What's it called? The door provides some cover. It would be cool to have, something like this off the ass end of it, but that would just eliminate the need for the spring bar tent, right? This is just a cheaper way to go to get the same kind of thing. I think the spring bar is bitching. And like that, the other thing is, none of these $100 ones will still be a functional thing 10 years from now. That spring bar will. You can repair that tent. It is a real tent. It's like, if you go buy an army surplus like GP medium tent, that's a completely different thing than like these things that you're looking at. There's tents come in varying degrees, right? But basically they come in two categories. They will last you 6 months to a year, or 1 to 3 uses, whichever comes first. That's most tents that are sold. The spring bar tent is literally a generational item. Like, it's made by Mormons. I don't like to like toot the Mormons for them because I don't really like them that much, but like I do like them in the same way that I like the Amish, despite the fact that they probably don't like me. Like, they do their own thing, they make their own shit, and it's cool and whatever. And like for their outdoor gear, they make great shit. So anything Mormon made, I tend to put a little bit of a prize on, like, it has a higher quality to me usually. And that has nothing to do with their religion or anything. It has to do with the fact that they all live in Utah and they all like to go out and adventure and shit. And their companies are a direct result of Chinese shit being all over the market. It's beautiful. Well, that pretty much covers the tents. Sorry, I was sitting with my legs folded. I do that a lot. The other subject of this video is tables. Before we leave tents, though, I am going to cover the fact that many of these, if you're in an area with trees, you could put up a tarp with rope and get the same kind of effect. The spring bar tent is not that. So I think that may be my answer, is that I get a couple of tarps, or maybe even like, come on, maybe even get this thing because I think it's kind of cool, and the spring bar tent. Like, have this, tucked away in the car someplace somehow. I hope. Like, I don't know how big that is. Like, the spring bar tent doesn't matter how big it is because we have extra storage room in the bed. right? Like you can throw that tent on the bed easy enough and just have it there until you get there, and then that's going to be the first thing you do is set that up. But this thing would be a I don't know if I'm going to set it up or not kind of a thing, depending on the weather and how long you're going to stay someplace. I don't know. It's definitely cool though. I like the ridge poles. That's a good design. This looks better made to me than any of the others. I would like to get it in hand. It really depends on materials and shit. Like it's made in China, so it's like you never know what you're going to get. Because like the spring bar tent that I'm talking about getting, it's also made in China. Just to be clear, their U.S. shit is way more expensive. The leisure port thing is literally in their Chinese line because they figured nobody really needs it to be that nice. I guess like it's like the lowest thing that they make, but it's perfect. Like if all you need is someplace to eat out of the rain and shit, that's what I'm looking for. Especially with those the solid zip in corners, that makes that a 10 by 14 tent. Like that's a big tent. The room I'm sitting in is like 10 by 14. Like this is a big like tabernacle. This is the tabernacle of the Crom or some shit. I'm becoming a Bedouin. Anyway, uh, yeah, my Amazon account isn't connected. Damn it. So let's look at tables next. As far as tarps to get, you can pretty much buy any tarp. It doesn't really fucking matter. The cheap ass plasticky ones won't last as long as like a good canvas tarp, but you won't have to contend with them being full of water when you go to put them in your car. So it's up to you. Let's start with King Camp. This is the table that I already have bought, and I'm going to buy another one of, I think. King Camp table. Yep. So this comes in a couple of sizes. The one that I have is the $150 one. I guess yeah, this one. It's I don't know, 4 foot by 3 foot, something like that. It's a good table. It's really lightweight. It's really easy to set up, and it's really strong. Like I've been using this table as just like a kind of a TV tray slash fucking catch all thing here in my living room ever since I got it, just to see how I liked it. Um, some workmen that came here to do something bumped it with a fucking power drill, took a chip out of it. I, carved that with a knife to where it wouldn't keep splitting, and it's been fine ever since. A lot of people be like, "Oh, that's a negative." It took a pretty solid whack from a baseball bat, basically, and all I had to do was, rub on it with a knife for a minute to, get it to where it's not going to get worse. Like this bamboo shit is pretty fucking tough. I dig it. The next one I'm going to get is actually this one, which it took me out of this. So this one over here, the $100 one, it's like 19 inches by 25 inches. I think it'd be cool to have a smaller table. I'm going to use it as a place to put a sink basin kind of thing and a sprayer nozzle thing I have. It's going to be like a washroom kind of thing. And for the tables, these are kind of like in there with the tent, where like I'm going to have it thrown in and it's going to occupy space that is going to be used for other shit, and it just gets deployed whenever you get there, right? And this is all for like, hey, we're going to go homestead someplace. This is homesteading gear that you're looking at. Uh, we haven't gotten to shit like chainsaws and shit yet. We're still working on living in a tent. Oh, anywho, uh, the other tables that I'm looking at getting are cheaper. Let's look at that. For the kitchen wash basin area kind of thing, there's a plastic 4-foot folding table. Let's look at that. Best choice. It's only $60. It's prime. I like the looks of it. It's one of these jobbies. For a sink area, this might actually be the better choice, and it's cheaper. So I might get this for the sink area and get the other table just to have two tables. I don't know. I came to the conclusion, while thinking this through, basically, that I needed more tables. I need at least one more chair. Like, I kind of stopped on all of the car shit a few months ago. I said, went and focused on EDC and then some combat gear and some gun shit and lots of other things. And like, I'm circling back around to camping gear for the car. And I'm trying to figure out now, like, basically, do I want to do an army surplus order before I buy car gear? I know I want to finish gun parts because I need a bayonet lug and a couple other things for my other rifle, and then it'll be done, except for a barrel swap that is down the road at some point. Um, so I'm going to do that. And the army surplus gear takes so much of the fucking list of shit that I had to buy that I'm probably going to do that. I don't know. Tables are lower on the list or whatever. But I did buy a small-ish table that goes on the. It's like a desk thing that goes on the back of your passenger seat. I got that as $30. So I am buying tables too. It's just opportunistically. And the reason I bought that thing is because I'm going to use that now. Like, I've been hanging out in that spot and whatever. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do like kind of a little office section thing, like place to hang out and smoke, watch TV. I'm going to figure out some sort of way to have a portable DVD player and the computer on there. But like, if I don't have internet, this computer really doesn't do anything for me. Like, it has movies and music and shit on it, but I have other ways of doing that. The thing that it would be able to do on the road for me is watch shit on Wi-Fi or Starlink if we had it. With Starlink and this computer, I would have, you know, Hulu, Disney Plus, and all of YouTube for $30 a month, basically. Right now, I have Amazon, and while I'm still buying shit, I'm gonna have Amazon, but that's one that I'm gonna cancel sooner rather than later. I'm still enjoying the Lord of the Rings shit that they put out, and I want to watch that a little bit more. And I have more shit that I want to order slowly on Amazon, so I'm gonna do Amazon Prime for maybe another month or two, and then I'm cutting that. I'm cutting a lot of shit out of my life, basically. Getting to the point where my only expenses are going to be car insurance, gasoline, the phone. I don't know. Food. Like, food is always going to be a constant, but I've even mitigated that pretty well. And I'm kind of living off of food storage I bought right now because it's cheap to do that, and it allows me to put more money into doing this sort of shit. So other than like going out to eat, I'm kind of living off of canned goods for the most part. I don't go out to eat that much. I did a bunch of Mexican food the other week because basically I like Mexican food, and so does my whole family, and they kept going out, and uh, it's hard to say no to that. We all kind of go Dutch and whatever, so it's like, you can go, not go. Anywho, uh, the only other table that I had on my list really is a small little like aluminum one that I saw on Amazon for 35 bucks. That's a Yahuico, Yihuiko, 24 by 16. It would make a cool like thing to put drinks on. It's only like 35 bucks. And that's the kind of shit that like if you're gonna have a tent, you need more furniture. I already had the one table because I kind of figured I would have a table just outside to do everything on. And like I bought a nice table because I figured it would need to be nice because it's gonna be on the weather. You know. I also kind of figured I would have an awning at least over it so it wouldn't be in the weather and if it like snowed or some shit. It's a folding table, you fold it up in the car. Common sense shit. But I bought a nice table because of that. And if we're gonna have a 10 by 14 area, like the shit that I'm going to pack to put in that area, like it's a lot more than one table. I've got two folding chairs already. One is kind of a guest chair, place to sit a backpack on, kind of a thing. The other one is like a chair for the table like to eat at or something. And then I need to get a steel director's chair. My family has these ones that they sell at Walmart for like 40, 50 bucks that are badass. I'm gonna go get one of those. It's really heavy, but this is again, we're buying shit to last forever. In my opinion, those steel director's chairs are kind of where it's at for an outdoor chair. Most things are not that comfortable. Those are pretty comfortable and they hold up and last a long time. Um, I don't know. I've had so many other folding chairs over the years that like the one that I have now that I use is the chair that I'm bringing along for eating at the table at. It's my folding shop chair. Belonged to my great great grandfather. It was like his card table chair. I have his card table out there too. And like we could bring it along, but it's kind of heavy. Uh, this chair's fucking indestructible. Made out of steel in America in like the 1940s, 1930s maybe even. It's old. Like that, and even maybe the shop chair might get brought along. I have a shop chair that's just like a old school like 1970s diner chair. It's something that you could strap Beverly Hillbilly style to the roof rack. I might. I also pretty well decided that I'm going to cover as much of the roof as possible in solar panels since I figured out a way to armor them. The chicken wire shit will work. I'll have to build that out correctly. I'm really building a Mad Max mobile. I like the idea of the slim little roof rack because the thing that I want to put on the roof is like gas cans, water cans, um, propane tanks, shit like that. And one, skinny roof rack will do that. I'll have room for probably two of at least most of those. Like maybe the propane tank, you only bring one. There's one 20-pound propane tank for anything I'm doing. It's a lot of propane. Unless we're forging, you know, I kind of figure I'm going to bring, I haven't bought them yet, but I'm going to get aqua pods and use those for water up on top of the car in the basket. Have two of those and two tanks, two cans of gas, and see how much propane I can carry after that. I need some sort of a way to secure some of that shit too. Figure that out. You can't just like throw that shit up there. I bought a cargo net at Harbor Freight. I was thinking about using it to like camo something, but like I might use it in the car too. It was like $5, so I bought that on speculation that it might be something I would need. I got one last thing for you too. It has nothing to do with any of this. But, so this thing, let's go with this one. It's like $100 on Amazon, and it has. Uh, I saw it in a review on YouTube, and I'm just wanting like a for funsies kind of a bow, and the 45 pound one, only $103. This is a takedown bow. You can get stick-on plastic archery rests for this that are perfect for like $5, and you can get a couple takedown arrows for it, or just get some aluminum arrows. I would just get aluminum arrows probably. Uh, this is dope. Like you could just go target shoot and shit with this while out there, or small game hunt or whatever. If you're looking for anything like this, you know, this is what I would get. I don't talk about archery that much on this channel. Um, I know more about archery than most people know about most things. To be honest, I as a kid started making stick bows and working in the backyard trying to make bow and arrows because basically I didn't have very many tools, and what I had was like knife, hatchet, saw, that kind of shit. And I was like, well, what can I make that's fun? Like, well, it might be cool to try making a bow, like to hunt deer in a survival situation. So that's where that obsession started. And this was like night. No, what year was this? This would have been like the year 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. I spent, this was third or fourth grade, fifth grade, somewhere in there. I don't remember. I spent several years playing in the backyard making stick bows. And then in college, I went to the camp school thing to do the Boy Scouts shooting thing that I did. And as a part of that, we had to we had to know archery because we taught the kid that taught the archery class. So I didn't teach that much archery. I went and helped him whenever I didn't have a class or whatever. And when we had young kids there, we all did archery, and that was fun. Like it was way more fun. But in those classes, I they taught us how to make bowstrings. That was cool. I honestly didn't know how to do that. I just bought them or used paracord or some shit, shoestrings. Altama bootlaces make very good bowstrings. You're welcome. So, like, why should you carry paracord? Well, in addition to the thousand other things you can do, if you're wearing military issue boots that have those kind of laces, take that shit out, replace that shit with paracord, and you have a bowstring. Now, your bootlace isn't as good, but 550 cord makes a hell of a lot better bootlace than it does a bowstring. This is the handy, information that I'm here to provide you. Bowstrings need to not stretch. Paracord stretches. They make takedown arrows too that are on Amazon. There's three of them for $60, and that's a lot, I think, but it's kind of cool too. Of the takedown bow with the takedown arrows, all James Bond. Like I'm going to get one of these and the takedown arrows and put it with my takedown shotgun and takedown 22. Like I collect survival things. I don't know why. And I think this is cool because some of the places I'm going, I'm not going to bring very many guns or any guns really. I'm gonna bring the black powder revolver and this thing and have fun out in the desert shooting that shit and like know that I can load the black powder revolver up for fucking van defense. Just in case some miscreant tries to take my van. And basically the reason for not having a van full of guns is there's no real reason to. I really want to take a trip out west with just black powder. And I'll probably bring the bow with that too, you know. Oh, there's other tables and other chairs and things that you can get. One of the best things that I have that I don't know if I would spend the money on or not is I bought one of those cheap futons from Walmart. I have the mattress for it. The frame I think is useless for our purposes, but the mattress is, you know, an extra bed that you can just fold up and throw in the back of the van, pull out and throw it on the ground. Like it's handy. I want to figure out some sort of a thing that I could bring along that would make it like a couch, you know, like maybe not up off the ground, but at least where you could like lean against it. I don't know how I would do that. A beanbag chair would be fucking cool too. Pillows are a must, and like this is where having that mat from the futon and a bunch of pillows and shit, and a beanbag chair, and like think go watch The Wind and the Lion when they're hanging out in the tents and like eating goat off of the spit and shit. That's what I want this tent to be. Like it has some tables and chairs and shit to eat at, and it has like a big ass hangout area where like you can just like put up a portable DVD player and watch a movie. And this tent has a floor. Forgot to mention that. And when you zip in the side panels on it, you can make it to where it's that's a real tent. It doesn't have any glitz or glamour or whatever. It's kind of meant to be a pavilion kind of a thing. But like in reality, my other thoughts on this is they showed it set up as like a shop booth kind of a thing. I have wares. Like seriously. Um, especially with a folding table and this and the fact that I kind of make some art, I'm gonna do that for sure. That's gonna be a second use for this. And like this is why like a lot of people would be like, whoa, 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 what happened to buying surplus shit? What happened to buying night vision? All that shit's still on the list. I just found out this tent existed, that it was within my price range, and that it is made in China, and that basically time is short on getting it at that price. So pedal to the metal on getting the tent. And once you have the tent, I think it makes sense to buy a couple of pieces of furniture to go in it. Although I already have a couple, so I don't know. Beyond that, it's the gun parts, the surplus store order, the list of shit that I already had going. But like if this tent fixes all of the problems for me that I think it will, it's worth the money. And it has, the reputation or whatever that I saw in it was the cheap RV living people. He interviewed a girl that was living in a minivan and one of these tents that was like one of the more expensive ones. And like she was sleeping in the tent, I believe. That just seems silly. Like I don't really want to have to set up a living room and shit. Damn sure I'm not gonna set up a bedroom. Like that's like when you first pull in and shit. Probably gonna be tired. Probably gonna want to go to sleep that night and set up shit in the morning. And that's why like having the tent where you can just that's the thing that's on the bed. You just throw that out of the car on the ground and go to sleep. I don't know. This seems way easier to me. Basically, the two highest priority things on my list really are the land and the tent now. And the reason that the tent is almost equal with the land is in reality, I could fucking stash a lot of shit that I have or sell a lot of shit that I have, take the tent and the minivan and go wander in the fucking desert if I wanted to. That's on my list of shit to do. So like I can use the tent to homestead. I can use the tent to sell stuff. I can use the tent to fucking go wander in the desert. I can use the tent for camping. I can use the tent for family shit. Yeah, we're definitely like the tent is a I should have bought this a long time ago, but I didn't know it existed. If I had known this existed 2 years ago, I would have owned it then. For sure when I had the car money. Oh, and the reason is basically that having a really nice rain fly kind of an area and a camper minivan thing, that's I think that's about the best cheap lightweight setup that you could have. Maybe that's just, you know, because I already have the minivan or whatever, but I bought the minivan literally because I think it is a superior vehicle to most things. I could run you down the list of things that I like about it, but to sum it up, it gets good gas mileage. It carries a lot of shit. It has cool sliding doors. It was cheap. Right. It's quiet. It drives good. It gets good gas mileage, which I already said once, but double, you know. I think I'm going to try to cut some weight out of the car too, because that'll help it with gas mileage. Basically, everything that I'm going to be putting into it is going to be plywood and two by fours, and not very much of that. Well, and I'm cutting all the seats out basically. Oh, it it is tempting to pull out that third seat. I don't know. The twin bed, I think, will fit in the back after I take out the side panel. The uh, the van, you know how minivans have this like thing at the back where it kind of comes in. Well, that makes it to where there's not room for the fucking twin mattress. But as it looks like it, that's just a big plastic cowling. So I'm going to take all that shit out and replace it with wood that's flat instead of this giant like domed plastic thing. I think that ought to help it. But the other thought with this is, if that's going to be a hassle, why not pull that fucking chair out? Just have that as the bedroom on wheels, like I wanted it as originally. I don't know. It's really nice having the fucking hangout area on the sliding door, and the bed is going to be like my cargo area. So I like having that sliding door next to the driver's door. Like it's kind of set up perfectly accidentally. I really wish I could get the mattress, but I really do want to get the fucking tent before I get anything else. And with the money that I've made, uh, it'll take me, maybe another couple of weeks to a month to be able to afford that. I hope. I have to stop fucking eating out. I ate out a couple of times this weekend, and that hurts. Not to mention, I bought that little table thing for the van, but like, I don't count that as spending money, really. It was $30, and I'm hoping that I like it. If I like it, I'm gonna keep it. If I don't like it, I'm gonna send it back. So it's kind of it's an Amazon purchase. It's like it's not really bought. It's we're trying it out. There's a lot of that with Amazon. Part of my real issue with the video game thing from earlier is if I do get a console, I'll need to buy a small TV for it. Maybe like get a 4K monitor. I don't know. But again, I don't need to spend that money because it's a fucking Xbox 360 or Xbox. So really, I need like a LCD TV. But those are fucking cheap as shit. You just get like the smallest, cheapest TV you can. There's a part of me too that says, hey, playing video games and shit, why not get a little bit bigger TV? But you need power conservation in mind too. Like, technically, I could use wow, the LCD screens on the DVD players. They come with the shit to do that. I don't know. I'm probably just not gonna get a game. If I did, I think I might get an original Xbox the more I think about it. I don't know. The original Xbox had its annoyances too, but like that's the games that I have nostalgia for are those. I had to come up with like a list of original Xbox games that I would buy. I should get the Xbox 360. Like there's not that much of a price difference in the consoles. I looked at vintage stock and one is like 130 and one's like 140. And with the way a lot of their shit is there, um, I should bring in a big ass box of toys and just see what they give me in trade and see if I can trade for that shit. They like they do the weirdest shit. They'll do like trade value almost equal, but they'll do like you know. So this Boba Fett spaceship that's $100 on eBay, we'll give you $6. Gee, thanks. I went to see how much they would give me for that Boba Fett ship before I give it to my nephew, and they would give me $6 for that thing. At that price, they can literally go get fucked. Like that thing is worth $100. Many of us listening to this would pay $100 for a fucking slave one of pretty much any vintage that's in good shape and comes with figures and all the parts. Like the world is so fucked up right now. I'm kind of glad it's worthless because I already gave my nephew the figures. Like I gave him um, some stormtroopers, some droids, Han Solo, Captain Antilles, something else, a couple of clone troopers that I liked, and with the Slave One right now, I've got in it a Sand Trooper from like 1995 and a Boba Fett from like 1995. I'm probably going to keep those in it, and I think I'm going to leave those in it and give him some Mandalorians to go with it too. I don't know which ones yet. Definitely, I'm going to look through the new made figures from Mandalorian and get him ones from that because I'm betting he likes that show. I like that show. Anyone with half a brain likes the Mandalorian. Anyone with a quarter of a brain likes Boba Fett. That is a acquired taste. I will give you that. And it has the issue with Boba Fett is if it had been John Favreau in charge of that whole thing without Kathleen Kennedy in it at all, I think that would have been fine. I see what he was trying to do. A lot of the things that make all of us go, huh, are fucking Kathleen Kennedy. And I think that's why there's fucking like Huttese all over that thing as graffiti that say KK over sections that were made by other people. Like there's a conversation going on in that show that's interesting, and I dig it. It's not exactly a good show. So, the kid may not like Boba Fett. But I think most kids are smart enough to like Boba Fett from the other shit. And the thing I fell in love with, and most of the people that like this shit fell in love with, isn't Boba Fett. It's the Mandalorian culture and shit. It's like the fucking Klingons of the fucking Star Wars universe, but better. They had, like, in high school, my friend Tim and I were talking to each other in Mandoa because we were nerds. That's half of why, like, that ship needs to go to that kid. I'm definitely going to get him a Mandalorian heavy trooper. If they're cheap, if they're fucking expensive. Like, this is one of the things, is like, everything now is like, ooh, we only made 25 of them. Ooh. Fuck those people. We made, actually, we made 800 billion of them. We released 25, and now we're selling these on eBay through a fucking secondary seller or some shit. I think that's a lot of what goes on with toy companies now, or companies in general. Like, go look at Flex Defense and know that Flex Defense is selling the ones that are $1,200 on Gunbroker too. Betcha. This is like the way everyone does business now, because no one's willing to actually pay for anything. Unless it's all hyped up and everybody wants it and you can't get it, and then you're paying for that. Ooh, I have the cool widget thing. Just half of why I cut the brace off my Flex Raider. Why would you want to appear to be that? Anyway. I'm going to wrap this up here in an hour. What Star Wars figures would you get to put with that ship for my nephew? Like, this is going to be a debate for the next 3 to 6 months. I don't know. Not 3 to 6, like 2 to 3 months. Whenever I buy these action figures closer to Christmas, like, I don't know. I might start buying them sooner, but I think the Mandalorian heavy trooper dude that is the Vizsla dude that's voiced by John Favreau, I will get that one because I think that's cool. And I'm gonna get that as like the Black Series, because I already gave him the Black Series IG-88. So then I want figures to go in the ship too. So I need some smaller figures, and I need to look through the Mandalorians that are available. Like, I think I'm gonna get him a Jango Fett and a Boba Fett. And like, the thing is, with those smaller figures, those are cheaper. So I don't know. We might just get those. I might get the Mandalorian Heavy Trooper for me, and then enjoy playing with that for a little bit, and then give it to him the same way I did the IG-88. Like, the Black Series, I think are cool because I can reseal the boxes and give them to him like they're new. It's like, I'm not gonna tear them up. I'm gonna pull them out of the box and go, ooh, look at the figure, and then put it back. You know, and maybe if it's Jango Fett, put his blasters in his hands and go pew 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 or some shit. But like, other than that, like, what are you gonna do with a figure? I like the joy of getting the toy and opening the package and all of that shit. So having the Black Series that I can reseal and give to my nephew and he can get that same joy and get to play with the toy, there's some value in that to me. But also I want to get him some just regular 6-inch Star Wars figures that make sense to go with this Mandalorian ship. And the old ones that are in there, I think are just cool. I already gave him some old ones, and these will go with that. And those two figures make cool figures to go with a slave one. Um, the old school Boba Fett makes a good pilot for it, and the Sand Trooper, could be standing out next to the ship or some shit. Like it's a bad guy for Boba to fight or whatever, or an ally for him, depending on how you want to do it. Like there's a lot of ways to play that, right? Like I had a Han Solo that still had his blaster, and it was also from like 1995. It's the Empire Strikes Back Han Solo with the jacket. I kept that one. He is next to the Scout Trooper from Return of the Jedi now. Um, that's the speeder bike troopers. That was always my favorite of the old school Star Wars figures because it had a holster on its leg for its gun, just like in the movie. And that was the first figure that they ever did that on, really. I remember like lusting after that figure for forever at Walmart. Several of those actually. They came in those like green Darth Vader packaging. So I'm keeping the Scout Trooper because he still retains his gun because he had a holster, and basically he retains his gun because he never came out of my possession. He was in with a bag of army men and some other shit from when I was a kid that I had in like a box of stuff. The Han Solo I found still clutching his gun up there, which is perfect. So he gets to join him, and I like Han Solo. I like Boba Fett too, but he doesn't have any of the stuff that goes with him except for Slave One. So he doesn't need a jetpack or a gun to be the pilot of Slave One. That's about all that figure's ever going to be good for. I'm giving it to the kid. The Sand Trooper is the same way. He's kind of slick, but he's cool and old and whatever. And you could make him a dead body on the battlefield or some shit, right? He has a Sand Trooper already that has all his shit. That's a better figure that I bought. God, somewhere in the 2000s. The Han Solo he has is also from that era. I bought the Han Solo. I was late high school, early college when I bought that Han Solo because they made one where the gun went in the holster. And like I always went and looked through the Star Wars figures at Target while I was getting other shit. I still do that. And when I saw Han Solo that you could put his pistol in the holster, like yeah, because like as cool as he is having the gun out all the time, that's not Han Solo. Han Solo basically almost never shoots anybody. The DL-44 is a sick gun. Well, that's a little bit of Star Wars nerdiness for you at the end. I also found a Luke, the pilot Luke from Hoth that my great grandma bought me. I'm putting that in with some shit for my mother. She wanted some toys and shit from when I was a kid or some shit. So like, I'm picking some stuff that like means something. We went to Walgreens and I was like 4 or 5, and she took me toy shopping on the toy aisle, and I picked out Luke Skywalker in his pilot form. Came with a lightsaber and a gun, and there's an X-wing somewhere around here that dude could go in. Uh, the real honey hole that has yet to been hit on the fucking Star Wars figures is in our storage unit. There's a giant box that has a Republic gunship in it, and it has ARC troopers and clone troopers and pilots and even some battle droids and shit, and maybe even a couple Jedi, and yeah, there's lots of shit. Basically, there's a honey hole of shit there that like kid's next birthday, I'll probably have found that thing. I don't know. I don't know if I could give him that, to be honest. That is so the Boba Fett ship my uncle gave me for Christmas. The X-wing, I think my grandmother or something gave me for Christmas once. The Republic gunship was $115 and like some change. I know that because I bought it at Target. I was 12 or 13. It took me a long fucking time to get that money. I had, maybe about $5 a week from mowing yards. Maybe I could make about a 10 doing other shit. So like I was buying some of my own shit that whole time basically. And that was one of the things I bought. That means a lot to me. But like it's so big and huge and like there's really no point to it. And it seems like all of that stuff is worth a fortune to everybody until you go to sell it and then it's worth nothing. And this is kind of back to where I'm like, oh fuck you then. I'm gonna give it to the kid. Like I have an ass ton of Legos here too that I don't know what I'm gonna do with. I have a full set of Viking shit that I found that is probably worth big money. It's a long ship with a fucking sea serpent and a whole bunch of dudes. I bought that in high school because I fucking thought it was awesome. And I was at the point where I was still a nerd and I was still a kid, but I was making some money now. And I think it was like 150 bucks for that set of Legos. It was a big set. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. I need to probably like divvy up the Legos amongst all the kids or some shit because there's like I have two big roughneck Rubbermaid tubs completely full of Legos. I don't know if you know how many Legos that is, but that's quite a few. And those are the ones that are all separated out from other toys. Up in the attic, there's a bunch of mixed shit where we could just be throwing Legos into a bucket for days and probably come up with another couple of buckets like that. And when I wasn't spending my fucking yard mowing money and shit on fucking giant Star Wars ships, I was getting Legos usually. I'd pick a set that I wanted and save up and get it. Or I was buying gun show shit. I always liked buying gun show shit. For a very long time, my main goal in life was to have at least a few $100s in my pocket when I hit the gun show. And like I miss that. At the same time, like it's just not worth it hardly anymore. There's not as much cool shit out there as there used to be, first off. Second off, the people that I don't like are all congregated there basically. I don't know that to be true really, but like that's where the pictures came from that were threatening. Yeah, so like gun shows aren't as fun anymore, really. Bunch of Star Wars Legos. That shit. That like the figures. All the pieces and shit are in there too, but it's like those figures are the cool part. I think if I were some money. Uh, One of the main points of all of that is I don't want to have to haul all that shit with me in a tent. So, like, it seems a disconnected thing to talk about all of these toys and selling all these toys. In reality, like, I'm trying to find like the right size pelican chest, pelican container thing, and I'm going to fill that with some mementos of everything. Basically, I have a small pile going. That's all I'm gonna keep of that shit. There's gonna be a weatherproof thing that I can just throw anywhere in the world. Like it's shit that I don't really need, but I feel somewhat compelled to keep because it's like, oh, I remember berries. So like I'm literally gonna put that in a treasure chest. And everything that I'm not keeping in the treasure chest, I figure I might as well give to kids and sell. So or make sure my mom has. Moms are weird about shit, apparently. Which tables would you get of the ones that we've looked at? I'm kind of leaning towards the 4 foot plastic one because that's like the kitchen sink area. That makes sense to me. But I think it might be nice to also have a second bamboo table. I don't know if I really need that or not, though. And tent wise, what do you think on that shit? Other than the spring bar, which I'm getting, would you get any tents at all? Do you think my idea of the tarps and strings, like the only thing with the tarps and strings is if you don't have trees, you can't do that. And that $100 awning thing from wherever it was, what's the name of it? Versatility teardrop awning. For $100, that solves that issue. I don't know. I'll see you guys later.